Hello again, everyone. You are now watching the 15th video or the 15th video of .NET 8.0 weekly journey or the video 15. Now we have discussed almost all of the .NET CLI tools. We also have known that you have a more or deeper discussion on MS Build, .NET Publish, and last video, although I found some gotchas, we already discussed .NET Store. Now I'm going to start to move to some features, and hopefully this will provide a nice segue to start to move to .NET 9, which is now is in release candidate 2. Okay, I'm Ariawan. You are with me, Ariawan Kusuma. And let's start the slide. And I'm based in Indonesia. My LinkedIn is this guy, or you just search my name, Ariawan space Kusuma Wadono. This is my GitHub ID, Ariawan. I'm also a member of .NET Foundation Open Source Project Onboarding Committee, meaning that, yeah, if you have some .NET Open Source project or just one, but it is very active and you want some additional support, such as you are going to have a CI/CD for that using as a DevOps, or some kind of support for signature or signing, and maybe some further guidance of being in a community. We can try to help you, and I would be love to hear what kind of project that you have, and if you really want to have more support for that, especially on the having some CI/CDs, for example. Okay, ping me on LinkedIn or GitHub. And next to me in the photo is my wife. Yeah, she's also in Indonesia as well with me. Okay, the plan update so far, we have discussed point 1 and point 2, including the ones that we discussed before. The .NET Publish, .NET Build, and .NET Run, and all of those TFMs, all of those the project system. And that is one thing I would like to show you before we are going to the overview of features. The continuation of last week video, I'll try to make it quick. What I'm trying to say is, unfortunately, the .NET Store CLI is not going to be developed anymore, or is not developed anymore as far as I can tell. And this also has been stated by Richard Lander, one of the, I think he is a principal program manager, if I'm not mistaken. He said on the GitHub issue that the .NET Store feature is no longer under development or testing. We don't have a good replacement for it either. So framework reference is reserved for .NET team delivered frameworks like ASP.NET Core. For some part, we will stop shipping this command altogether. So I have mentioned the link here, and it is suggested to have your own frameworks like framework reference, like this one, Microsoft ASP.NET Core app. Unfortunately, now that we are in the release of .NET 9.0 release candidate 2, there is no definite update about the actual obsolescence of this .NET Store CLI. Hopefully, this will be clarified in the issue, maybe later, or I don't know, maybe I should ask, because this is important, as if the .NET Store CLI command is not going to be developed anymore, then it should be clarified clearly in the documentation. I mean the doc page, because the .NET Store is still there. There is no, some kind of notes or whatever for .NET Store. And I'll put the screenshot here. So unfortunately, this is one of the gotchas. The next one will be the related parameter or option for .NET Publish. We already know that .NET Publish have manifest. So I don't know what would be the exact obsolescence, because if we assume that the .NET Store will be obsoleted, then the option for .NET Publish with manifest should also be obsoleted, because that will requires manifest generated from the .NET Store in order for .NET Publish with manifest to run successfully. So hopefully this will be fixed or at least clarified. I've I was thinking about, okay, maybe in the .NET 9 RC2 timeline we have obsolescence. Unfortunately, it is not, and it is still there to install. So I'll try to give you some demo after this. Okay, now let's try to move on the features. I should this is still typo, so I should just put .NET Core features since .NET 6, because most of the notable features that I'm going to discuss here relates to the release of the .NET 6. Okay, just to quick recap, we have core technologies like Core CLR, PCL, TFM, SDK that we have discussed in very deep. It takes more than 3 videos just to discuss the relation of MS Build and the .NET Build, .NET Publish, and .NET Store. I have the chance to discuss the ready to run, for example, and also having a single file publish. I have already demonstrated running the result of the publish that use the publish single file against any kinds of Windows, as long it is in within the supported release or versions. Last one I should discuss is Trimmer, but unfortunately, I think Trimmer is quite a big topic on its own, and also it is closely related to the choice of the platform, because Trimmer is not just tries to trim your resulting output of the publish, but also Trimmer means that somehow, I know that I should not say this directly, somehow this is closely linked with the choice of the platform. It is. So I am going to demo Trimmer after I uh, give you some quick overview of the features, like in this video. Believe it or not, Trimmer is also related to what kind of app that you develop. If you develop like like console, you are guaranteed that you have this very smallest binary output. Like, as long as you are not using native, then you will have a very small executable or DLL as part of your compilation. But that would change quite significantly. Let's say if you are going to use ASP.NET and you decide to trim it. Honestly, I haven't got the chance to fully test the ASP.NET projects when it is trimmed. I mean ASP.NET Core projects. But you get the idea, right? Because the whole runtime of the DLL and the runtime, and also the the CLR runtime, and also the BCL plus the other DLL that is required to in order just to ensure that ASP.NET Core app will run. I mean, outside the Blazor or WASM, that will take you more than 10 megabytes. I am quite sure about that because I have tried, but let's see. So I'm going to put trimmer after this video. So that will be next video after we discussed all of the choices of the features. Like we have ASP.NET Core, Razor, Blazor. Previously we have Blazor for server and for client. Now we have a full support for Blazor WASM. Hopefully I have the chance to demo it for next week. The nice thing about Blazor is how seamlessly you can try to bring your logic going through from the Blazor server to client and WASM. Although on WASM you have a very very small, you cannot do anything like if you develop your app using the Blazor server or ASP.NET Core because you require the whole SDK. But for WASM you cannot do that because it tries to run within the execution context of your web browser. To me, you may find some limitations on there. Okay, of course you cannot run any other kinds of application that relates to desktop UI as WASM. That is also completely it's just nonsense. It doesn't make sense. So now let's discuss the features. I mentioned about something that's related since 2006 because most of the new features in .NET 8 relates to the release of the new features since .NET 6, and also the evolution of that kind of features like .NET MAUI, like we have here. If you want to create a cross-platform desktop, such as desktop for Windows and also for Mac, .NET MAUI, since the initial release, will be released in a separate release train. What I'm trying to say is you cannot, have a certainty. Okay, initially .NET MAUI is almost at the same time with .NET 7, the original first release. But now we have .NET 8, and .NET MAUI is also keeping up with .NET 8. But at the same time, you can still use the old version of .NET MAUI on .NET 8. But the exact binary compatibility for me is still quite a bit confusing. Hopefully, I have the chance to prepare this and demo to you, at least for under 4 videos, because honestly, I don't have a Macintosh machine on, so I could not fully demo to you about that. I could demo to you MAUI on Android using Visual Studio emulator for Android. And yeah, I should put it correct note that see also the note below. MAUI previously is actually Xamarin. You know that you have Xamarin forms on many things, but the development is totally different because Xamarin is not exactly binary compatible with .NET Core. MAUI, it is compatible in a sense that the original release was coming in the .NET Core SDK, as I mentioned here, and the IDE support comes since Visual Studio 2022 17.8, and with that, the supporting runtime is .NET 7. .NET 7 was released 2 years ago. Last year was the release for .NET 8 in 2023. .NET 7 is released in 2022, and that was the starting SDK support for .NET MAUI. So you know that it has to start from some time and some version, right? Originally, when we have MAUI before release version, when I was try to do some, trying and do some fun stuff like creating a simple UI, it was working with .NET 6. But at that time, we also know that they changed the progress, and then you can only run MAUI at beginning with .NET 7. Now that we have .NET 8, you can still also have MAUI, but since .NET 7, the way that you have MAUI on your machine, either you are going through the Visual Studio installation or you can get as .NET workload. So I'll show you later in the doc. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Since I don't have any kinds of uh, details of all of those features, believe me, it will take more than 5 hours of video if I have to explain to you all. Don't worry, because list of features is available nicely on the official docs. So let's start with some new features in .NET 6. I think I'm going to just switch using developer comment from, and let's start with the simple one. I'm going to use my VS Code for that. Let's go back to the original .NET Weekly. Hopefully there's no modification. Okay, cool. Let's check for any updates already up to date. Now, okay, let's go to source. Where is it? Oh, source. And let's fire up VS Code. In this folder, I have set global JSON to use .NET 8.0.300 as the SDK. So I mark it with the roll forward as latest feature, meaning that I'm not going to use the major minor version automatically. I'm just following the latest feature like the three in the 8.0.300. So there will be 8.0.4, blah blah blah, 8.0.5, blah blah blah. So I'm just following the that number. Okay, we have here 8.0.300. So let's try to see what kind of options that we have. I could show you that I'm still in the context of the 8.0 SDK by looking at the info. You'll see that the applicable SDK is 8.0.403 because I'm using global JSON set to this guy. But what if I run the info outside this folder? So let's go to the root of the repo. You'll see that I'm not putting any global JSON. So I will get the latest one, and the latest one is the .NET 9 RC2. Hopefully, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, let's scroll up. Oh, looks like I haven't updated my RC yet. Okay, we have RC1 here. So you see that if I'm not putting any global JSON, it will try to use the latest version available on my machine. The latest version is 90100RC1. So it will try to use that. I should update my Visual Studio 2022 preview installation just to ensure that I'll get the latest one. So let's go back to the source and see hello.net code. Okay, I already opened the VS Code. If you follow the previous videos, for example, in the console, you'll see that when I create a new project using global JSON of net 80, it will add these guys implicit using nullable. This nullable is already there since .NET 6.0. The interesting feature is implicit usings. This is why my program CS is looking like this. I'm still using the system runtime interrupt services because system runtime interrupt services is not part of the implicit using list. I have to use using system runtime interrupt services because I'm using this guy, system environment. But yeah, it seems unnecessary. Okay, so if you are creating new project by default in .NET 8, you are using this kind of model. This kind of model is like a implicit usings, and also I think it is called what's the name for it? Okay, let's look at the documentation of what's new in .NET 6. Okay, let's look. Okay, what's new in .NET 6? What's new in .NET 6 is investment in web stack and minimal API. Okay, it is called top level statements, meaning that usually when you create a new console, you have to write class program, and then inside that class program, public static void main with parameter of string as the array of the arguments. But now it's just simply like this one. And if you wonder, can I still have the string args? You could still have that, but you have to be careful on that, and that will be discussion for next video, not in this one. Please just bear with me for now. Okay, if you see that this is the console, now there I have the sample in ASP.NET Core, and the program.cs also follows the same model. You don't have the class program, static void main, blah blah blah. It is also the same model. But since .NET 6 ASP.NET Core is also have this new feature, it is called the minimum API. But if you follow the minimum I think this is not the one that I. Okay, let's go to the documentation. Let's, but before that, okay, let's see the top level statements. Top level statement. Okay, let's see what's new in C sub 10. I'm going to open new tab. New tab here. Let's see. There should be top level statements because structure types. Global using directive improvement in Lambda. Both assignment. What? Assignment and regression in same day construction. Color argument. Hashtag line pragma. Changes in earlier versions. Let's try to search in this docs of C sharp. Hopefully, we should have the description of top level statement. Maybe with S. Because in this table of contents, maybe I could not see it. File scope, namespace, interpolated strings, record types, assignment declaration. Okay, let's try to search. I'm going to focus on documentation only. Okay, it's in the fundamentals. Oh, it's available since it's up, right? And let's up proposals. C sub 9. Where does it say coming from C sharp 9? I don't see anything. Okay. Let's try to search directly. C sharp 9. No. No mention of anything like that. Top level statement. C sharp 9. Features specification. C sharp specification. But the idea, you'll see that is we usually have these class program and the method of static. Sometimes, yeah, void, sometimes main. But you get the idea, right? And so, yeah. Okay, this is called top level statements. Okay, so you don't have to write the main. It's basically try to minimize boilerplate, just like FSAT used to have. Okay, so this is top level statements. Top level statements tutorials. This is the feature specification. Let's see the top level statements. Okay, so it is being proposed as feature in the C sharp 9, but it is actually released as C sharp 10 alongside with the .NET 6. Okay, so then since this .NET 6 release, now every time we create a console ASP.NET Core, we have this kind of model like without static main. For you developers that comes from the .NET Framework world, I suggest to get used to this, but in a gradual way. Because if I'm having this kind of model in the console, it is okay. But for ASP.NET Core, it can be confusing because you usually have a way to put some of the code here inside a method, and then now it's all being in one big file of program CS, for example. In here is the generated code after I specify ASP.NET MVC. But what would be the look like if I try to use minimum API? Okay, let's just try to create that one. So I'm going to use this folder for now. Let's see what kind of option do I have if I add a new. Okay, I'm going to use the recommended option, the new list instead of the new dash L. Let's see if I'm going to create ASP.NET MVC. ASP.NET that would be web or okay, there you are, MVC. Or the new MVC. Let's see the other option for this MVC. Is there a way to see whether we should use minimum API or not? There should be that kind of option, right? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, let's start from the this line. New MVC with the project name, template type. I never use that. This is for the authentication. This is this option is for if we use the Azure Active Directory. So right now the official name of Azure Active Directory is Azure Entra ID. So you may find it may confuse you, but it's actually the same. We have SOCP sign out callback path, reset password, edit profile, domain callback exclude launch. Where is that kind of option? Call API URL, call scrap, use program main, whether to generate. Oh, okay. Use program main that we are going to use the main. Okay. Let's go back to the original documentation. How to do that minimum API? Minimum API, I think it is starting from .NET 6. We have here .NET 6. Let's go to the ASP.NET Core, I believe. Top level statement. Top level statement. This is candidate to. Let's see. Web templates, similarly minimal. Already open some pages to make it efficient, because otherwise I'm still searching for that. That ideas to good code as not this one. What's new? What's new? Okay, let's try to do some quick search here. Minimal API. This is the first occurrence, and this is the second occurrence. It doesn't have the link, while the first one also doesn't have it. Okay, reduce the amount of code, make it easy to click faster microservices. Faster microservices. Okay, let's look at the ASP.NET Core. What's new in what's new in ASP.NET Core 6? What's new? This is 8. ASP.NET Core 6. Okay, now we have minimal APIs. There is a tutorial. Well, let's see. We have, oh, this is, okay, this is the list of the APIs. So now we have a nice way to see if you are going to use Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code. This is great. So they have samples .NET New Web. Okay, cool. Contains the following code. Oh, I see. So I have to use web instead of .NET New MVC. So that's okay. Let's look at the option of .NET New Web. It doesn't mention any kinds of minimal API, but let's see. I'm going to wait. So sample ASP.NET Core. I should rename it as sample ASP.NET Core MVC instead of just sample ASP.NET Core. So English. What kind of template is that? Web ASP.NET Core web. Okay, this is an empty template. Okay, .NET New Web with the name of sample ASP.NET Core empty web x0. Let's start from here. Okay, looks like the folder alignment is correct. Let's see. Okay. Let's just look from Visual Studio Code. We have here sample ASP.NET Core. There you are. So this is a good sample of minimum API. If there is a call to the root, returns just hello world. And if we go back to the documentation here, Okay, looks like the signing. That should be fine. No, it's good. It's more complex. Basically, you can try the sample codes in these docs, and it works as long as you are, installing the .NET SDK correctly. You get the idea that all of the route of the APIs, you do it one by one, like the one in this code, for example. But honestly, to me, it is hard to really, you know, reason your code, because usually when we do the API, we put it under a method, and then if you declare the method, you will see that you will have attributes like the one that we have in the sample SPNet core, for example. So in SPNet core, we have here, let me see, properties. Oh, no, 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 this is not the correct template, because this is a full-blown MVC. Okay, I'm going to create a new project again. Now I'm going to use the API template, web API. There should be one that I could use. Okay, we have web API. So got the name with the name of sample ASP.NET Core web API version X0. Let's see how it generates the template. Again, just to remind you, I'm still using the NET 8.0. It takes some time to restore some NuGet packages, I believe. While we wait for this, I think the folder is already created. Hopefully it will show in Flash code. So empty web API. Okay, there you are. Let's look at the programs. Yes. Hmm. Okay. It is also directly embed the logic here, and to me, it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. It is still a bit confusing to me. So we have weather forecast, but this is also can be a little bit matter of choice. It is quicker if you have a very small team, for example. But if you have a diverse team, usually uh, more than 2 or 3 teams, I suggest you should not do this. Okay, this makes me think that can I just use without any kinds of minimum API? So .NET Web API. Let's see all of the options I have. There you are. Hang on. It says here use minimal API set to false. Okay. Use program main set to false, which is Yeah, it is true. Mhm. With name cat weather forecast. Oh, this is the name of the route. Yeah, and this is the cat one. Use Swagger UI. Now you see that it is confusing, right? So let's say if you want to have your own get, pause, put, or maybe delete specific verb, how are you going to do that? Because we got used to have attributes on top of your method name usually. Now you don't have it. Yeah, weather forecast. Okay, this is the record declaration of weather forecast. Is a getter. Oh, I see. This is for conversion. Okay. Oh no. Oh, it's a method. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's a record, and the constructor requires date and the temperature integer, and then the string of summaries. Hmm. Weather forecast. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, this new weather forecast. Oh, this is random. Okay. Yes, swagger. Now you see that since I'm coming from the .NET world and then I made it through to .NET Core. Now see, we have this is a bit confusing. So let's try to create a new web API without any kinds of minimum API. And I'm going to use controllers instead of directly minimal API in the program CS. So I should give a different name. I'm going to use. I know that it is a long name with controller, and I'm going to use dash use dash controllers set to true. Okay, this is interesting. Let's see how it looks like. Hopefully, I'm having the correct parameters or options here. Okay, so use controllers is not a valid option. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong options. Okay, web. I should use the web API. My fault, my fault. Use control is set to true. Okay, now it should work. Okay, it is working. So I should get used to differentiate .NET New Web with the .NET New Web API. Okay, we have use controllers, and let's see what would be the loop of this with controllers. Let's look at the program CS. There you are. We have the controller. Wait. Okay, we have this weather forecast, and where is the API? It's in the controller. Cool. Yeah, so this is the one that I was trying to show you on each of the method that is going to use as the public HTTP API. It is usually have these attributes like get, post, HTTP get, HTTP post, and on the class name is usually you have this kind of route with some pointers that it is part of what. If it says here controller, meanings that this class will be used as the controller. So the convention is usually the name you put here, get weather forecast, and this weather forecast controller will be the, what is the term for that? The blah 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 dot domain name dot com slash weather forecast. So this will be the weather forecast. And you'll see that it says here map controllers. This guy, this method is the one that going to search all of the references in this project. If any kinds of code that has class that derives from controller base, it will use that as the API. So this is the word that I'm coming from, and it is also normal or general to have this kind of model. But if you follow the previous videos, this model doesn't apply, or you cannot apply this kind of model for Winforms like the one that I have here. You see that in this project is always use this static class program, static void main. I think it is because if you use Winforms or the WPF template, you have to ensure that it should run under single threaded apartment or STA thread by marking the main with this attribute. You will see this attribute for Winforms and WPF. So the explanation for this kind of model or attribute is quite long, but if you want to, I would like to also demo it to you as well. It is related to the way that usually, the old GDI plus the Win32 UI runs. It runs under single thread apartment model compared to the low level component object model of Windows. It can run on under the STA or the MTA, the multi-threaded apartment. It is usually run on MTA, but you can also force it to run on STA under some kind of hacky condition or certain condition. For UI, normally you run under STA thread. But one thing to be considered, what if you are going to create UI under Windows using MAUI? I haven't fully dived into that, but we'll see. Now that I have demoed to you some kind of advances or progress, you'll see a minimal API, top level statements. I know it is related to C Sharp progress, but it is basically uh, you cannot run from it, because each of the newer release of ASP.NET Core is related to the .NET Core, and if you go through the all of the repository of the open source of the .NET Core, you'll see that it is all written in C Sharp, and of course, all of the C Sharp language advances is always used into that .NET Core. But at the same time, C Sharp progress is also depends on the version of the .NET SDK that is going to be released. So when you see the download page of the .NET Core SDK, you will see what I'm trying to say. So let's go to this. Is may be a little bit boring to you, but all of the SDK is usually closely linked or closely coupled with the advances of the C Sharp. So let's go to the all.NET 8.0 download. You'll see that .NET 8.0 is related to C Sharp 12. Now, if I go to the download page of .NET 7, it is out of support, of course. It's just 1 year of support because it's old version. You'll see that it is related to C Sharp 11. So any advances in C Sharp 12, you cannot do that on .NET SDK 7.0. You can do that on .NET 7.0, but if you compile it using .NET 8, but then again, you may find some incompatibilities. So you have to be careful on that kind of multi-TFM thing. This is interesting because you may find, oh, I don't have to pay attention to these kind of SDK and the advances of the language, but you still have to do that because this is also related to the version of Visual Studio. So let's go to the initial release of .NET 7. You'll see that this comes with Visual Studio 2022 version 17.4 included in this guy. You see, but the next SDK advances, it requires you to install the Visual Studio, I think 17.8 if I'm not mistaken. So let me see. Start from 70. Hang on, 704 for XX. Oh yeah, 17.7. So starting from 7.0.46 for XX or 400, you'll see that it comes with Visual Studio 2022 or vice versa. So if you have Visual Studio 2022 with 17.7, you will have a SDK of 7.0.4 XX. It means that the next iteration of SDK with the feature number of 4, the version of the SDK is 7.0. So if you use a latest feature like the one that I have, I'm using 8.0.300 or 300. I can still use that in the SDK such as 8.0.403, the one that I currently have now. So let's just see. Yeah, I have the 8.0.403. Some of the newer features I have demoed before. So you'll see that you have the ready to run and those things. But to me, if you have a way to anticipate each of the release to have a new features, unfortunately, it is not like that. So let me show you why. I'm nearing 1 hour now. Okay, I'll try to quick. I'll try to be quick. If you look at the what's new in .NET 7, you will see that there is no new features in SPNet Core, like the one that we have here. Actually, there is, but somehow it is not written in the overall what's new of .NET. So let's look at the what's new in 7. Come on. So in SPNet Core 7, you have a introduction to rate limiting middleware. Authentication uses single scheme as default scheme. Support for nullable models. Yes, you should have a nullable support in the Razor page. I think previously in .NET 6 you don't have that. You cannot have that. And then customize the cookie consent values. To me is not quite important. The next important is the parameter binding with the dependency injection in API controller. I think this is a nice addition. JSON property name, yeah. We have filters in the minimal API. What kind of filters? Okay, let's open new tab. So, okay, we have here add endpoint filter. Invocation context next. So that would be the I think HTTP context, if I'm not mistaken, for this one. Let's look at the endpoint. Okay, filter invocation context. Returns a delegate. So this is the delegate, and it is using async for this one. Cool. Add a filter to color selection. Okay, it gives you feedback if you input certain values. It is rejected as a returning result problem. Okay. Hmm. Before second filter. Before third filter. So this is the way you line up your endpoint filter, and this will be the output. It's somehow quite similar on the ASP.NET Core middleware, how it is flow. Okay. The remaining to me is not quite important because if you really want to implement a filter, you will lose many things like that kind of rejection on certain value. To me, it is opening some hole, like then I should try other kinds of value. Of course, if you do some obvious thing, like you cannot, let's say if you have a function to, if you want to, what is the term for that? Okay. If you want to save some money, then the amount of the money that you want to save on your bank account should not be zero. Like it's like it has to be above zero. Therefore, the filter is making sense. But if you do some kind of hard coded values, oh, you should not accept red, you should not accept yellow. But then if the spec changes, oh yeah, I'm going to save red. It is nonsense. It's like it's better to have a separate method and then return the problem if the validation is invalid or error instead of having filter. But again, it is your matter of choice. Because to me, I already implemented this without using endpoint filter. So it is not adding quite a big value proposition to me. It's not high enough to me. Okay, I already voiced my opinion. I already demoed to you some of the features, and the actual new features is actually in .NET 8 are many. Okay, let's see. What's the features in? We have in 7 now. Let's go back to the 8. Full stack web UI. It's hard for me to demo that. Okay, let's try to find some interesting demo. Oh, it's full of logic instead of directly seeing what's going on here. We'll see. Configuration of connection type of in hub connection filter. Oh, this is for the signaler. Cancel close events. Yet another reverse proxy. Yeah, this is YARP. Blazor hybrid. Troubleshoot the spinner account hybrid. How to use Blazor web view with a .NET MAUI Blazor hybrid app. Oh, okay. Parameter attribute is no longer required when supplied from the query string. No longer required. I think this is a good addition because yeah, it is easier to understand if it is no longer required. New approach to set server timeout and keep alive interval server timeout for the signaler. Okay. Great, great, great. Now you have signaler directly in the ASP.NET Core. Previously it was separated. I'm glad that is fully part of the .NET Core SDK, especially ASP.NET Core. But this signaler is different from if you use signaler on Azure. Also, it is different from the way Visual Studio use signaler. But the signaler in .NET Core is the closest one to the way Visual Studio use signaler. And if you want to, I could demo it to you, but not in this video, of course. It's already taking more than 15 minutes just to search for or to fix the template that I was wrong. Okay, yeah, this is the joy of the actual journey. So, oh my god, this just to scroll here it takes me more than 5 minutes. Yeah, I have to admit it is impossible to describe all of this what's new in .NET 8 in one go. Since I'm not just focusing on ASP.NET Core only, I still have to demo using .NET MAUI. Hopefully, In next week, I could demo or at least on Windows. If I still have some time, I will try to demo with the MAUI on Android, but using emulator on Visual Studio. So let's see. Okay, now that I have explained to you with some demos, honestly, with a failed demo before, but yeah, that is part of my journey as well. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe my video. I would love to if you have some comments or feedback. Feel free to reach me on LinkedIn, of course. Yep, don't forget to like and subscribe. And see you on next video to continue this SPNet feature and also other features such as MAUI. Bye bye. See you next video.